The text came through at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Sold your old car for quick cash. Got $8,000 from some guy on Craigslist. You're welcome for handling that eyesore smiling face with sunglasses. My brother Derek's message sat on my phone screen while I reviewed quarterly reports in my corner office. The building's glass walls overlooked the harbor, but I wasn't seeing the view. I was reading those words again, feeling the familiar weight of my family's assumptions settling over me like it had for the past 8 years. Before I could respond, the family group chat exploded. Dad, finally. That rust bucket was embarrassing. Good work, Derek. Mom, thank God. Sophia, you really need to invest in a proper vehicle. That thing was falling apart. My younger sister Christina. Seriously, Soph, even my Honda looks better than whatever that was. Derek again. The buyer didn't even haggle. Practically threw money at me. Should have asked for more oil. I typed one word, noted. Then I set my phone face down and returned to the merger documents that required my signature. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was authorizing a $340 million acquisition while my family celebrated selling what they thought was my $8,000 rust bucket. The car in question was a custom-modified Audi RS7, matte black with performance upgrades that brought its value to approximately $190,000. It was registered to my company TechCore Solutions as part of our executive fleet. The vehicle carried GPS tracking, had encrypted communication systems installed, and was technically classified as protected company property under our corporate security protocols. But my family didn't know any of that. They didn't know I was CEO of anything. They thought I was a struggling office assistant, barely making rent, living in what they believed was a tiny studio apartment. In reality, I owned a penthouse downtown, but I'd never corrected their assumptions. After years of being dismissed, overlooked, and compared unfavorably to Derek's success as a mid-level sales manager, I'd simply stopped trying to prove anything. My phone buzzed again. Derek, seriously, Sophia, you should thank me. That money could actually help you get something reliable. Maybe a used Camry? I know a guy. Dad, Derek's right. We worry about you driving that death trap. This is actually a blessing. I didn't respond. At 3:15 p.m., my executive assistant Michael knocked on my office door. Ms. Martinez? Tony from Fleet Management needs to speak with you. He says it's urgent regarding Vehicle 7. Vehicle 7. The Audi. Send him in. Tony Chin entered, tablet in hand, looking distinctly uncomfortable. He was mid-40s, former military, and handled all our corporate vehicle security. Ms. Martinez, we have a situation. Vehicle 7's GPS shows it at a residential address in Riverside, registered to a Marcus Webb. Our system flagged it an hour ago when someone disabled the tracking device. Or tried to. The backup system is still transmitting. Disabled the tracker? Attempted to. Looks like they took it to a shop, tried to remove what they thought was the only GPS. They didn't find the secondary system built into the chassis. He pulled up a map on his tablet. The vehicle changed hands approximately 4 hours ago. Initial transfer occurred at a McDonald's parking lot off Highway 52. A McDonald's parking lot. Yes, ma'am. We have the transaction on traffic cameras. A male individual, approximately 6 feet 2 inches, brown hair, handed keys to another male. Cash exchange visible. The vehicle was then driven to this Riverside address where it currently sits. I leaned back in my chair. The male individual who sold it. Did you run facial recognition? Already done. Derek Martinez. Your brother, according to our employee records. There was. Pull the full security file on Vehicle 7, I said quietly. Documentation, registration, corporate classification, everything. And Tony? Don't file anything with the police yet. Ma'am. Just wait. I need to make some calls first. Tony nodded and left. I sat in silence for 3 minutes, watching the city move below my windows. Then I called our corporate attorney. Jennifer? It's Sophia. I need you to pull the legal documentation on our fleet vehicles, specifically the ones classified under corporate asset protection. Yes, Vehicle 7. I need to understand our exact legal standing if that vehicle was sold without authorization. Jennifer Wallace had been our general counsel for 6 years. Her response was immediate and clinical. If someone sold a protected corporate vehicle without authorization, that's theft of company property. Given the value and the security classification, it would be a felony. What happened? My brother sold it. He thought it was my personal car. Silence on the line. Then, oh no. Walk me through the legal implications. Sophia, if he sold company property worth nearly $200,000, believing he had authority to do so, legally it's still theft. His belief doesn't change the fact that he had no ownership rights and no authorization. The buyer would also be in possession of stolen property, even if they purchased it in good faith. This is extremely serious. What are my options? You could report it as stolen, which triggers a criminal investigation. You could demand its return and pursue civil recovery. Or you could negotiate with all parties involved, though given the security classification of that vehicle, I'm not sure the company's insurance would allow us to simply let it go. There are protocols. Understood. Don't file anything yet. Let me handle this. I hung up and stared at my phone. The family group chat had continued without me. Christina, hey Sophia, Derek said he left the money in your apartment mailbox. Check when you get home. Mom, see? Your brother takes care of you. You should be more grateful. Derek, all in a day's work. Someone has to look out for little sis. My office door opened again. Michael stepped in with coffee I hadn't requested but definitely needed. Ms. Martinez? I took the liberty. You look like you're processing something significant. Michael, how long have you worked for me? 7 years, ma'am. In those 7 years, have I ever mentioned my family? He set the coffee down carefully. Once. You said you had a brother who was confidently incorrect about most things. That's the one. Should I be concerned? He just sold my company car for $8,000. Michael's expression didn't change, but his hand paused halfway to his pocket. The Audi. The Audi. The nearly $200,000 Audi with encrypted communications and GPS tracking? That one. Oh my. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Sophia Martinez. Ms. Martinez? This is Marcus Webb. I bought a car today and something weird just happened. A guy came to my house saying he was from some tech company and the car has tracking devices and I need to return it? Is this a scam? The guy I bought it from said it was his sister's car and she was upgrading. I put the phone on speaker so Michael could hear. Mr. Webb, I'm the CEO of TechCore Solutions. The vehicle you purchased is registered to my company as a protected corporate asset. The person who sold it to you had no legal right to do so. Heavy breathing on the other end. Are you serious? I paid $8,000 cash. I have a bill of sale. I understand and you're not in trouble. You purchased the vehicle in good faith. However, it is stolen property. I'm going to have my legal team contact you within the hour to sort this out. You'll be made whole financially, but I need the vehicle returned immediately. This is insane. The guy seemed totally legitimate. He said his sister was some office worker who couldn't afford to keep up with the car. Office worker. Of course Derek said that. Mr. Webb, I appreciate your cooperation. Please don't drive the vehicle. Someone will contact you shortly. I hung up and immediately called Jennifer back. I need a recovery team sent to this address. I read off the Riverside location. Negotiate compensation for the buyer. He's an innocent party. Full $8,000 refund plus another $2,000 for his trouble and lost time. Get the vehicle back to our secure lot. And Jennifer? Document everything. Every conversation, every transaction, everything. Are you pressing charges against your brother? Not yet. But I want the option. I ended the call and texted Derek. We need to talk. In person. His reply was instant. Can't tonight, got plans. What's up? Tomorrow. 10 a.m. My office. Your office? Oh, where? The supply closet. Just tell me what's wrong. I sent him the address of TechCore Solutions headquarters. Derek. Wait, why are we meeting there? Me, 10 a.m. Don't be late. I didn't respond to his follow-up questions. The family chat erupted again. Derek. Guys, Sophia's being weird about the car thing. She wants to meet at some tech building downtown. Dad. Sophia, what's this about? Derek did you a favor. Mom, sweetie, please don't be difficult about this. Your brother was trying to help. Christina. OMG Sophia, are you seriously mad? It was a junker. I silenced the chat and went back to work. At 6:30 p.m. Tony called again. Ms. Martinez, the vehicle is secured. Mr. Webb was cooperative once our legal team explained the situation. We compensated him $10,000 total. $8,000 refund and $2,000 for his trouble. He signed all necessary documentation releasing any claim to the vehicle. Good. What's the damage assessment? Someone attempted to remove the primary GPS tracker. There's minor damage to the dash panel, easily repaired. They also appear to have accessed the onboard computer, probably trying to reset something. Our security team is sweeping it now for any additional tampering. Estimate $3,000 in repairs and security recertification. Add it to the file. What's our total loss here, including your team's time? Including legal fees, recovery costs, repairs and compensation? Around $18,000, ma'am. $18,000 because my brother thought he could sell what he assumed was my worthless car. Tony, I need you to do something else. I need a complete breakdown of every cost associated with this incident. Itemized with timestamps. Every phone call, every person hour, every mile driven. Full documentation as if we're preparing for litigation. Are we? I honestly don't know yet. That night I didn't sleep well. I kept thinking about every family dinner where Derek bragged about his sales numbers while I stayed quiet. Every Christmas where Dad gave Derek expensive gifts and gave me gift cards with a note about being practical since money's tight. Every Easter, Thanksgiving, and birthday where Mom asked when I'd get serious about my career, while praising Derek's ambition. I'd built a company worth $840 million. We employed 1,200 people. Last year I'd been featured in Forbes' 30 Under 30 list. My penthouse was paid off. My investment portfolio was worth more than my parents' house. And they thought I was struggling to afford a functional car. The next morning I arrived at the office at 7 a.m. I had Michael clear my schedule from 10 to 11. I asked Jennifer to be on standby. I had Tony prepare a presentation file on the vehicle, its specifications and the incident timeline. Then I waited. Derek showed up at 10:17 a.m., 17 minutes late, wearing a polo shirt and khakis that screamed middle management. Michael escorted him up from the lobby. I watched through my office windows as Derek looked around the executive floor, confused. Modern art on the walls. Glass offices with harbor views. The subtle hum of serious money being managed. Michael opened my door. Ms. Martinez, your brother is here. Derek stepped in and his face went through several expressions at once. Confusion. Surprise. Dawning realization that something was very wrong with his understanding of reality. Sophia? What? Why are we in the CEO's office? I gestured to the chair across from my desk. Sit down, Derek. Seriously, whose office is this? Do you work here? Are you like a secretary for? I'm the CEO. This is my company. Sit down. He laughed. Actual laughter. Right, good one. Seriously though. Michael, still standing by the door, spoke quietly. Ms. Martinez is the founder and CEO of TechCore Solutions. She has been for 8 years. Perhaps you should sit down. Derek looked at Michael, then at me, then around the office with its awards and framed business magazine covers on the wall. His face went pale. He sat. The car you sold yesterday, I said, my voice perfectly level, was registered to this company. It was a protected corporate asset worth approximately $190,000, equipped with encrypted communication systems and security tracking. It was not mine to give you, and it certainly wasn't yours to sell. What? No, that can't be right. It was a piece of junk. It looked like. It was a custom-modified Audi RS7. Matte black. Performance package. It looked understated because that's how executive vehicles are designed. To not attract attention. Derek's mouth opened and closed. You're serious. Completely. But, you're not a CEO. You work in an office somewhere doing assistant stuff. You can barely pay rent. I've never told you I was an assistant. I've never told you I struggled with rent. You assumed and I never corrected you. This is insane. Mom and Dad also assumed. I didn't correct them either. Why the hell not? I leaned forward. Because 8 years ago when I started this company I told Dad I was leaving my job at Morrison Tech to start my own firm. He laughed and said I'd be crawling back in 6 months. Mom said entrepreneurship was too risky for someone like me. You said I was delusional and should stick to what I'm good at, like filing. So I stopped telling you anything. Derek stared. That was 8 years ago. You've been lying for 8 years. I haven't lied once. I simply stopped volunteering information you clearly didn't want to hear. My phone buzzed. Jennifer, I'm outside if you need me. Here's the situation, I continued. You sold company property. Cost us $18,000 to recover and repair. The buyer could have filed charges against you for fraud. I could file charges for theft. This is a felony, Derek. Corporate property valued over $150,000. That's serious prison time. All color drained from his face. Sophia, I didn't know. You have to believe me. I was trying to help. You took keys from my apartment without asking, sold something that didn't belong to you and took cash for it. Legally, your intent doesn't matter. Please. Come on. I'm your brother. That didn't seem to matter yesterday when you told everyone my rust bucket was embarrassing. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. But you can't seriously press charges against your own brother. I said nothing. Sophia, please. I have a job. A life. This would destroy everything. You were willing to risk my life. What if I'd needed that car for an emergency? What if there had been important company equipment inside? You didn't think about that. You saw an opportunity to make quick money off what you thought was your struggling sister's only asset. I'll pay you back. All of it. The $8,000 plus whatever it costs to fix. $18,000. Plus legal fees. We're at about $25,000 total. He looked like he might be sick. On his salary, $25,000 was devastating. My office phone rang. Michael answered it at his desk outside. Moments later he appeared at the door. Ms. Martinez? Your father is downstairs demanding to see you. He's quite agitated. Security is with him. Of course Dad showed up. Send him up. Derek pulled out his phone frantically. I could see he was texting the family group chat. Probably something about how I was threatening to press charges, how I'd been lying about my job, how everything was crazy. Dad arrived 4 minutes later, red-faced and angry. He didn't wait for an introduction. Sophia Marie Martinez, what the hell is going on? Derek says you're threatening him with prison? Over a car. Hello, Dad. Don't hello, Dad me. He made a mistake. You don't send family to prison over mistakes. He committed felony theft. Of your own car. Of my company's car. It wasn't mine to give him, and it certainly wasn't his to sell. Dad looked around the office for the first time, seeing what Derek had seen. The view. The awards. The subtle markers of serious executive power. What is this place? My office. I'm the CEO of TechCore Solutions. I founded it 8 years ago. Dad's face went through the same progression as Derek's. That's not possible. It's documented fact. You're an office assistant. I've never said that. You assumed. But you drive a beat-up car and live in a studio and never have money for family dinners. I drive company vehicles that are designed to be understated. I own a penthouse downtown worth $2.3 million. And I don't attend family dinners because for 8 years, every single one has involved you explaining to me how to be more successful while praising Derek's mediocrity. Dad's jaw clenched. How dare you? My desk phone rang. Jennifer's extension. I answered. Yes. Ms. Martinez, I have your mother on line 3. She's calling about a family emergency. Should I put her through? I sighed. Yes. Mom's voice came through the speaker. Sophia. Thank God. Derek told us you're having some kind of breakdown. Claiming you're a CO? Threatening your brother? Sweetie, this isn't like you. Are you off your medications? I've never been on medications, Mom. Don't be difficult. Your father is there, right? Let me talk to him. He's here. You're on speaker. Richard, you need to talk sense into her. She's clearly having a mental health crisis. We need to. I ended the call. Dad stared at the phone, then at me. You hung up on your mother. I did. Sophia, I don't know what game you're playing, but... Tony knocked and entered without waiting. Ms. Martinez, the police are here. Detective Morrison from Commercial Crimes Division. Should I show her up? My stomach dropped. I didn't call the police. The buyer did. Mr. Webb. Apparently after we compensated him, he had questions about the person who sold him stolen property. He filed a report. Dad went white. Derek made a sound like a wounded animal. Show her up, I said quietly. Detective Sarah Morrison was early 50s, professional, carrying a tablet. She introduced herself efficiently. Ms. Martinez? I'm investigating a report of vehicle theft. A Mr. Marcus Webb claims he purchased a vehicle that was later recovered as stolen property. He's provided documentation showing he bought it from a Derek Martinez. Is Derek Martinez here? Derek raised his hand like a scared student. That's me. Mr. Martinez, I need to ask you some questions about the sale of an Audi RS7 on November 4th. I didn't know it was stolen. It was my sister's car. At least I thought it was. The vehicle is registered to TechCore Solutions, a corporation. Not to any individual. Did you have authorization from the corporation to sell it? No. But I didn't know it was corporate property. Detective Morrison looked at me. Ms. Martinez, do you wish to press charges? The room fell silent. Dad found his voice. Sophia, don't. Please. He's your brother. Derek was shaking. Please, sophomore. I'm begging you. I looked at them both. At Derek, who'd spent years treating me like a charity case. At Dad, who'd never once asked what I actually did for a living. Detective Morrison, I said slowly, I need to consult with my legal team before making that decision. Can you give me 24 hours? Certainly. Mr. Martinez, don't leave the state. We'll be in touch. She handed Derek a card and left. The silence after she left was deafening. Finally, Dad spoke. You'd really do it. You'd send your brother to prison. I don't know what I'm going to do. How can you not know? He's family. And for 8 years, family has treated me like a failure. Like someone who needed to be managed and pitted and corrected. None of you ever asked about my life. You just decided who I was and never questioned it. Because you never told us different. I shouldn't have had to. You're my family. You should have been curious. You should have asked questions. Instead, you made assumptions and mocked me every chance you got. My voice had risen. I forced it back down. Here's what's going to happen, I said quietly. I'm going to think about this for 24 hours. Derek, you're going to sit with the reality that your good deed was actually felony theft. Dad, you're going to go home and explain to Mom that her daughter isn't having a breakdown. She's been successfully running a company while you all assume she was failing at life. And then tomorrow I'll decide what to do. Sophia, Derek started. Get out of my office. Both of you. They left, Derek stumbling, Dad rigid with anger and shock. Michael appeared after they'd gone. Ms. Martinez? Are you all right? No. But I will be. For what it's worth, I think you handled that with remarkable restraint. Thanks, Michael. Shall I hold your calls? Please. I sat alone in my office for an hour watching the city below, thinking about family and assumptions and the price of silence. My phone buzzed continuously. The family group chat had exploded. Mom, Sophia, answer your phone right now. Christina. Wait, you're actually a CEO? WTF? Mom, this is ridiculous. You've been lying to us for years. Christina. Holy shit, I just Googled you. You're in Forbes. Forbes. Dad, we need to talk about this as a family. Derek, please, Sophia. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Mom, your brother could go to prison because of your pride. Christina. Wait, Derek actually stole her car? A $200,000 car. Dad, it was a misunderstanding. Christina. A $200,000 misunderstanding that he sold for $8,000? That's not a misunderstanding, that's stupidity. Mom, Christina, don't be cruel. Christina, I'm not being cruel, I'm being accurate. Holy shit, Sophia, why didn't you tell us? I typed one message. I'll let you know my decision tomorrow. Then I muted the chat. Jennifer called at 4 p.m. Sophia? Just checking in. What are you thinking? Honestly, I don't know. If it helps, I pulled precedent cases. Given the circumstances, if you press charges, Derek would likely face 2 to 5 years, possibly reduced to probation and restitution if it's a first offense. But he'd have a felony record. And if I don't? Then he learns nothing. Your family continues to see you as the one causing problems, and the next time someone makes assumptions about your life, they'll feel entitled to act on them. You think I should press charges? I think you should do whatever lets you sleep at night. That evening I went home to my penthouse. The city lights spread below my windows. I poured a glass of wine and sat on my balcony thinking. Derek had stolen from me. Not just the car, he'd stolen my dignity every time he'd pitted me. He'd stolen my accomplishments every time he'd bragged about his own mediocre success. He'd stolen years of honest relationship by never bothering to ask about my actual life. But he was still my brother. At 9 p.m. my phone rang. Christina. I answered. Yes. Sophia? Can we talk? Just us. Okay. I've been reading about your company. About what you built. It's incredible. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out why I never asked you about your life. Why none of yous did. I said nothing. I think it's because Derek was always so loud, Christina continued. So confident. And you were always so quiet. We mistook quiet for weak. For unsuccessful. We're idiots. Yes, you are. She laughed, but it was sad. Yeah. We really are. Look, I'm not calling to tell you what to do about Derek. That's your choice. I'm calling to say I'm sorry. Shri sorry. Not, sorry you're upset, sorry. But, sorry I never saw you sorry. Thank you. Are you going to press charges? I don't know yet. Whatever you decide, I get it. He really screwed up. Like monumentally screwed up. Yes. Mom and Dad are losing their minds, by the way. Dad's drinking scotch in his office. Mom's stress baking. The kitchen looks like a bakery exploded. I don't know what to do, Christina. That's okay. You don't have to know yet. We talked for another hour. Really talked, maybe for the first time in years. She asked about my company, my life, my penthouse. She didn't ask about Derek or the charges. He just listened. After we hung up, I felt slightly less alone. At midnight, I made my decision. The next morning, I called Detective Morrison. I'm not pressing charges. But I want it documented. Every detail. If Derek ever does anything like this again, to me or anyone else, I want this on record. Understood, Ms. Martinez. I'll close the case as declined prosecution with full documentation. Then I called Derek. He answered on the first ring. Sophia. I'm not pressing charges. I heard him sob. Thank you. Thank God. Thank you so much. But Derek, you need to understand something. This isn't forgiveness. This is me choosing not to destroy you. You owe me $25,000 for the recovery costs. You'll pay it back at $500 per month until it's cleared. And you're going to therapy to figure out why you thought it was okay to take something that wasn't yours. Hey. Yes. Anything. And Derek, if you ever take anything from me again without asking, if you ever make decisions about my life without my input, if you ever treat me like a charity case who needs your help, I will not be this generous. Do you understand? Yes. I understand. I'm so sorry, Sophia. I know. Now go call Mom and Dad and tell them they raised a son who almost went to prison for being arrogant and stupid. I hung up. Michael knocked on my office door an hour later. Ms. Martinez? Your mother is online too. Of course she is. I sighed. Put her through. Sophia. Derek told us you're not pressing charges. Thank God. We knew you'd come to your senses. Mom, I didn't come to my senses. I made a choice not to send my brother to prison. Those are different things. Well, either way, this whole mess is behind us now. We should have a family dinner to celebrate. No. What? No family dinner. Not until you all understand that what Derek did was wrong. Not a mistake. Not a misunderstanding. Wrong. He stole from me. He sold something valuable because he assumed I was too pathetic to own anything worth keeping. Sophia, he didn't mean. I don't care what he meant. I care what he did. And I care that you, Dad, and Derek spent 8 years assuming I was failing without ever asking if I needed help or support or just a conversation about my actual life. Silence. Mom, I love you. But I'm tired of being your project. Your worry. Your example of what not to do. I've been successful beyond anything you imagined and not one of you noticed. We would have noticed if you'd told us. You should have asked. I ended the call. Over the next week, things slowly settled. Derek set up automatic payments of $500 per month. Dad sent a stiff email, acknowledging the misunderstanding. Mom left voicemails that oscillated between apologetic and defensive. Christina kept calling, though. Real calls. Sister calls. She asked about my life, my company, my plans. She apologized more than once. He meant it. 2 weeks after the incident, I got a text from Derek. First therapy appointment today. It's weird but probably needed. Thanks for not giving up on me. I'm sorry for everything. I replied, good. Keep going. Dad showed up at my office a month later, unannounced. Michael tried to stop him, but I waved him through. Sophia, Dad said, standing awkwardly in my doorway. I owe you an apology. Okay. I'm serious. I've been thinking about the last 8 years. About how I treated you. How we all did. You were building something incredible and I was lecturing you about responsibility. Yes, you were. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. Yes, you should have. He looked around the office. This is really something. What you've built. Thank you. Can I take you to dinner? Just us. I want to hear about it. About all of it. Your company, your life, everything I missed. I studied him. He looked older than I remembered. Tired. Hey, I said. Dinner. But you're paying. He smiled for the first time. Obviously. You're doing better than me financially. It wasn't forgiveness. Not completely. But it was a start. 3 months later, the family gathered for Christina's birthday. It was awkward at first. Mom fussed. Dad was overly polite. Derek couldn't quite meet my eyes. But Christina pulled me aside before dinner. Thank you for giving them a chance. I'm not sure I've forgiven anything yet. That's okay. Forgiveness takes time. But you're here. That's what matters. I looked at my family, gathered around Christina's dining table, arguing about whether to order Thai or Italian. They still didn't understand everything. Maybe they never would. But they were trying. And for now that had to be enough. My phone buzzed. Tony, Ms. Martinez, Vehicle 7 is fully repaired and recertified. Should we return it to active fleet rotation? I looked at the message, then at my family. Me, yes. But install a better alarm system. Apparently, brothers can't be trusted. Tony, noted. Enhanced security protocols engaged. I smiled and put my phone away. Derek caught my eye across the table. Everything okay? Everything's fine, I said. Just work stuff. He nodded, accepting it without prying. Progress. Mom raised her glass. To Christina. Happy birthday, sweetheart. We all raised our glasses. To Christina, I echoed. And for the first time in 8 years I felt like maybe, just maybe, my family finally saw me. Not the failure they'd imagined. Not the charity case they'd pitted. But me. Sophia Martinez. Sister. Daughter. And owner of a very expensive car that nobody would ever sell without permission again.